Now, as we go through our activate and deactivate search and notifications, we're going to talk about how you split the screen to see both systems, both ML Exchange and Fusion and Paragon. So you're going to see one of your current systems and one of your new systems for Paragon. We're also going to compare contact records in both systems to make sure you've got the right information in both, because what we want to do is verify that your contacts and their information, along with their searches, have come over correctly from ML Exchange or Fusion into Paragon. We're also going to show you how to verify that the criteria is correct, how to activate the search inside Paragon, and then we want you to go back and deactivate the search notification in ML Exchange or Fusion. We do not want you to delete it. We want you to just deactivate it. That way, if you want, you can always go back into ML Exchange or Fusion and verify that the search criteria is exactly the same in both locations, ML Exchange Fusion versus Paragon. We're going to have you look at guides and videos to help you understand how to use that part of Paragon functionality. The guides give you step-by-step instructions with screenshots showing you where to click to use that part of Paragon functionality. On the videos, it's someone like me talking about how to use Paragon. I'm going to demonstrate on the screen and give you tips and tricks about that part of Paragon. Now, when it comes to the different help sites, there are two available to you. I recommend you use your board website as that primary source for your help information, and here's why. The board has created the guides and videos based on your specific Paragon database. That way, as you're looking at things, it's your data, it's your values, you understand it, and it makes more sense. However, if you would like, you can always go out to the Paragon help site. You can get to it by accessing the help button or clicking on the help button in the upper right-hand corner. There you're going to see different boxes or buttons that you click on to get certain functionality. And once you've clicked on like searches or CMAs, you'll see guides and videos that will help you through. Now, those guides and videos are based on a generic database, not your specific database. Therefore, going to your board database is the primary way we would like you to get your help. Now, I believe that Paragon is intuitive. By looking at the buttons, you'll have a good idea of what you're going to be able to do when you click on that particular button. As an example, if you want to do searches, click on the search button. If you want to do a CMA, click on the CMA button. If you want to work with your contacts, click on contacts. Again, very intuitive. Because of that, there's two phrases I would like you to remember. The first phrase I want you to remember is, if I see it, I can do it. And that's truly how Paragon works. So if you see a button, it means you can do it. And we invite you to go ahead and click and start exploring and experimenting in Paragon. Now, some of you may be a little hesitant about doing that because you're afraid that you'll click on the right place and you'll cause Paragon to crash. Here's the second phrase I want you to remember. I cannot kill Paragon. You do not have the permissions to get into that part of Paragon that would cause it to crash. Therefore, explore, experiment, investigate Paragon and see what's there. If you wonder what happens if you click on a certain button, don't wonder. Just click on it. Why? You can't kill Paragon. And so with that kind of an introduction, let's go ahead and take a look and see how you use Paragon. There's ML Exchange. And let me show you a quick, easy way in order to make both systems appear on your same screen. Right now you can see in my Internet Explorer I'm using ML Exchange. And I can, if I want, do a left mouse click and hold up here in the header banner area. And by just dragging over to the far left-hand side, notice how a little shadow of a rectangle showed up, and now by releasing, it's now filling the screen. I'm going to come over to Paragon. I'm going to do the same thing with Paragon. I'm going to grab up here in the banner area, drag over to the far right left-hand side, and notice how there's that little shadow area. I release it, and now Paragon is now filling half of the screen. So by looking over on the left-hand side, there's ML Exchange. Looking at the right-hand side, you can see Paragon. And by doing this, you can be working in both areas and be able to see the details. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to verify that contacts have come over correctly. In ML Exchange, you call that a client. In Paragon, we call it a contact, but also in other areas, we call it a contact or a prospect, all dealing with the same kind of contacts or people you're working with. Let me go ahead and click on Contacts in ML Exchange. I'm retrieving the data, and let's look at Ask B. Jones. As I click on Ask B. Jones' name, notice how ML Exchange is coming back and showing me his contact information. Now, how do I do that in Paragon? Well, I'm going to come over to my contacts. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see those labels there. a little too far. Let me zoom back in. To zoom, I'm just holding down my control key, and by using my scroll wheel, if I push towards my computer screen, I move closer to it, so it gets larger. If I pull the top of the wheel towards me, I'm moving away, and so it gets smaller. Here's my contacts. I'm going to go ahead and click on contacts, and notice I have a window that opens up, and I'm going to move down to view and manage contacts. I'm going to do a left mouse click on it, and up comes a list of my different contacts. Now I've got a lot of contacts that I have inside Paragon, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come up to the find field. I'm going to type in Aspie. So typing in Aspie, there we go. There's Aspie Jones. I just click on Aspie's name, and I can see that Aspie has some saved searches. What I want to do at this point is just click on Next, so I can see Aspie's contact information. And there it is. So as I look over here on the left-hand side, I can see Aspie's the first name, and Jones is the last name, so first name and last name over inside Paragon. I can also see that the email address is aspiejones@hotmail.com. Well, inside ML Exchange, down here midway down on the right left-hand side, there's the email address, aspiejones@hotmail.com. So I'm able to then scroll on down through the contact information, seeing all the different details that are there. And when I come over to Paragon, again, I can scroll on down through that contact information, seeing all the details. So here at the top, I have my phone numbers on the right-hand side. Right underneath Aspie Jones' name, I have all my different email addresses. And then as I scroll down, notice that Paragon has one sets of field here when it comes to the address, but there's a drop-down box above that. By using the drop-down, I could come over and see the home address, or the work address, or the post office or other addresses. As you move back over into ML Exchange, you can see there's the home address, the work address, other addresses. And so again, you can see the different details and that they've come over correctly. So with that in place, let's come over and look at the saved searches. So what I'm going to do is in ML Exchange, I'm going to click on Search. It's bringing me over to the searches, and what I do want to do is come over to where I have my search manager. So let me see if I can expand this out a little bit. Notice when I have my Save Search Manager, in order to expand that a little bit, I just hovered my cursor over the right-hand edge, then a left mouse click and drag it. I'm going to click on my Save Search Manager, and as I do that, there's all the different saved searches that I have for my clients. So let me move this back over. We can see that with Aspie Jones, he has 3 different saved searches working. I'm going to come back over to Paragon. I'm going to click on Next. Let me go ahead and save any changes I made. And as I look over here on the side, notice I have the 3 different saved searches for Aspie Jones. Let's come over back into ML Exchange. I'm going to click on the search name of Aspie Jones with no separation or break. Just going to click on it. And as you can see on the left-hand side of my screen, there's all the criteria for Aspie's search. Well, I'm going to find that same search, Aspie Jones with no separation or break. I click on it. And then by clicking on the name of the search itself, the criteria will come up for me. Let's give it a moment to load. And there we are. Let me zoom in just a little bit over here on the side. Notice where we have the criteria summary. Instead of having to try to move up and down through the actual search criteria screen itself, let's look at the criteria summary over here on the right-hand side of the page underneath the count. As we're looking at it, notice that property class is condo. Come over into ML Exchange and notice that property class is condo. In ML Exchange, the area is 0098. So coming back over, area 0098 when it comes to area and city. Coming back over, we see that we're in the community of Oliver. So coming back over, I can then see the community, and here we have the community number for Oliver. As I continue on down, we can see that we're searching for active and pended properties. And so there I have, I don't have pended there. So let me go ahead and type that in. and now I have active and pending properties that I'm searching for. As I continue on down, notice I have a price range of 225,000 to 250,000. Back over in ML Exchange, notice I've got 225 to 250. So again, it looks like we've got the same criteria so far. So now I'm looking at bedrooms above grade. Notice that the minimum value is 2. As I look over here inside Paragon, notice it says bedrooms above grade. It says greater than or equal to 2. So I have exactly the same criteria in both searches. So let me move back over to Ask Me Jones tab. So I'm looking at it, and now I'm to the point where I can then turn on automatic email notifications. So for this particular search, here's my different options for doing email notification. Right now, everything is off. That way, as your contacts and all have come over, Paragon doesn't know which ones are active buyers and which ones aren't, and so we've turned all of the notifications off. If nothing else, right now we're using ML Exchange to be my primary notification tool out to Ask Me Jones about properties that match. As we're doing this process, and now would be a good time for you to start making these changes, since that Paragon is going to become your active ML system come November 17th. Doing a couple of contacts a day makes a lot of sense to help spread this work out. As I'm over here, notice that it's off. I could come down to the third item down and choose email notification. That is just a simple email that goes out with a link in it. I recommend that you come down to Client Connect. And by choosing Client Connect, you can now have a lot of monitoring that's done about your client as far as how many matches are there, how many are favorites, possibles, rejects, when was the last time an email went out, plus when was the last time they're into the system. But more important than that, all the matches are grouped together on the website, and your client, in this case Ask Me Jones, can manage all of the matches, all of the listings that have been sent out as a result of the saved search, and manage all of those listings. And that, to me, is the superior tool. So what I want to do is I want to click on Client Connect. This little wheel spinning now means email notifications or the listings are out on the site. And by moving down, we can choose when will those email notifications go out. By clicking on Notification Settings, I have a couple options. One is immediate. And by choosing immediate, every 15 minutes when Paragon does a matching routine, if there's a match, out goes an email. Now, if that is too frequent for your buyer, you can always click on Recurring. By coming over to set a time frame, you can now choose what time that's going out. Is it going out daily? Is it going out weekly? Again, you pick the days you want that to go out. Or is it going out monthly? And if you choose monthly, you can choose a numbered day of the month, let's say the 15th. Or if you'd prefer, you could choose weeks. By choosing the second option, you can choose first, second, third, fourth, or last week, and then within that week, which day. With that set up, I click on OK. Here's who's going to be getting the email, Ask Me. I've asked to be blind copied. And then down below, I can also choose, do I want that to be immediate or recurring? For me, I come in, verify the setting, and I want mine to go out at 8 o'clock in the morning. That way, when I get into the office, I have a copy of what happened the day before for each of my clients. In this case, Ask Me Jones. By clicking on OK, it's done. And then, as I scroll on down further, I can just click on OK. With that in place, I can now send Ask Me an invitation and invite him to Client Connect. His name is already there. I just click on Send, and by clicking on this bottom link, Ask Me can now go in and see the matches that are inside Client Connect for him. So that's how you would then turn on email notification and choose when that notification is going to go out. So with this all set up, let me come down to Save Search in ML Exchange. Going to let that load up also. Again, I come down to where it says No. So I no longer want to have that as the active search. Choose the No, move down to Save, and now that email notification is turned off. Now when I come back over to my Save Search Manager, notice how that Ask Me Jones search is no longer here because it's been turned off. And by using your Save Search Manager, you can walk through all of your active saved searches that are working inside ML Exchange or Fusion and make sure that they're turned on inside Paragon. And once your list here in the Save Search Manager is empty, you know that all of your active automatic email notifications going out of ML Exchange in this case have totally been turned off and turned on inside Paragon. And by doing it in this sequence, we turn it on in Paragon, then turn it off in ML Exchange. That way we don't have a duplication of emails going out about the same properties. And once it's all set up, you're done. And you've now completed that process to activate automatic email notifications inside Paragon and then turning it off inside ML Exchange. Again, it's important that you only deactivate the search, not deleting it. That way, if you do find that there's results errors going out, you can always come back into ML Exchange, find that search, and compare it to what you have inside Paragon to make sure they're the same. So let me go ahead, and once I've got that set up, let me go ahead and cancel out of that. I'm going to close out of Ask B. Jones. And if I want, I can come back in and continue to work. So let me just close out of Ask B. Jones there. And let me close down that particular email notification. And notice that I have another Ask B. Jones. By clicking on that, I'm going to load that up in. Again, by clicking on the name of the saved search, I have the criteria coming up. And by scooting over, I can look at my criteria summary and make sure I've got the right information going out. So let me just scroll right on over. And I can verify my contact information. Coming back into the name of the saved search, Ask B. Jones with the separation. Again, there's my criteria. So again, we can continue working through making sure we've got the right information. Notice on the right-hand side, I've got condo. I got it on both sides. For the area, it's 0098. So there's 0098 over here on the Paragon side. We've got Oliver as the community description. Paragon is displaying the short name for it, or the numeric value for it. And then we come over to status. We have it just as an active property. Notice status is active. And then for the price range, notice it's $215 to $220. Again, $215 to $220 here on the side. Since that is all the same, come back over into this particular search, choosing Client Connect, and I repeat that process for activating the email notification by choosing when those are going out and sending an invitation to ask me for that particular search. Back inside ML Exchange, again, I come over to Save Search, come over to Say No, deactivate the search, and click on Save, and now I've turned off another search. So now when I come back over to my Search Manager, and I click the Save Search Manager, I'm going to see that those two searches that I've just deactivated are no longer on my list, leaving me now just two more remaining saved searches to activate inside Paragon and deactivate inside ML Exchange. So I hope you can see that the process is fairly simple to do as you compare between ML Exchange and Fusion to what Paragon has for the saved search information. And by comparing not only contact information, but actual saved search information, if there appears to be any error or difference, you can always update it inside the Paragon criteria or contact information, save it, and move forward. And you've always got the ML Exchange over here on the side for the next little bit to verify and compare to make sure things inside Paragon are exactly right. Now, let me check and see if there's been any questions asked. And there is, so let me take a look and see what's going on. Alrighty, someone's explaining that it's a little difficult to follow along with the process that I was just demonstrating. So let me try to show this again. So let me go ahead and expand these browsers. So here I have my ML Exchange. In order to make this fill half of my screen, I'm just going to do in this header area here, I'm explaining that question. I'm going to come in, I'm just going to move it over to the side, and notice that little shadow of a rectangle that's appearing? When I release my left mouse button, ML Exchange is now half my screen. For Paragon, which is back behind, I'm going to do the same thing. Move it over to the side. Notice how it has a shadow rectangle, which is exactly the same size. I release it, and now Paragon fits half of the screen. And by moving it over, again, holding down a left mouse click, I can now display both of the systems together. Let me go ahead and just close out of my contacts. over on the Paragon side of things. And here I have all of my contacts. Let me come back over to the home page at ML Exchange and Fusion. And the thing that we want to do is we want to verify that our contacts have come over correctly. So I'm going to come over to contacts inside ML Exchange. Here I have a list of contacts, and I want to come over and verify Aspie Jones contact information. So here I'm displaying the Aspie Jones contact information inside ML Exchange. To get to my contacts, I clicked on Contacts. I moved down to View and Manage Contacts, and I have this contact spreadsheet displayed. I can type in part of Aspie's first name or last name, and Paragon will then show me all the different records that have Aspie's information in it. By clicking on Aspie's name, I can see that Aspie's got 4 searches, but right now, or 3 searches. Right now, what I want to do is verify contact information. So by clicking on the Next button over on the right-hand side, we now come over to the contact information inside Paragon. As I'm looking at this, I can verify first name and last name as I move across that top line. In Paragon, they're one right above the other. Underneath, down towards the bottom where it says email address number 1, there's Aspie Jones' email address. Moving over into Paragon, there's the email address also. As I continue on moving down, notice that there's places for different phone numbers and email addresses. Phone numbers appear on the right-hand side inside Paragon. Additional information appears under Aspie Jones' name for the additional email addresses. Continuing on down the page, I do have the ability to view up to 4 different sets of address fields using this one tool. We have 4 sets of addresses assigned to each of these drop-downs, so 1 per drop-down, you can display the address. As you look over here in Aspie Jones, notice that there's no address. So it appears that we've got the same contact information in both systems. But if we'd found that maybe there was something missing out of Aspie's record that we didn't have in Paragon, you could then come back in, add that additional phone number or email address, and continue on. Now, once we verify the contact information, let's look at the search criteria itself. By clicking on Search, I'm going to expand this out a little bit, I can click on the Save Search Manager. And by doing that, ML Exchange is going to show me all of my different saved searches that are in ML Exchange. By coming over to Paragon, I'm just going to click on the Search Activity. And here I have my different saved searches associated with Aspie. So they all appear right here inside the contact record. The one I want to work with is the one that says Test Auto Prospecting. So here it is, Test Auto Prospecting. This is where I'd actually turn on the email notification of my choice. I would be choosing Client Connect. But by clicking on the name of the search, Paragon actually opens up and shows me the search criteria screen. Now, to make it easy to be able to see this content, I'm going to use the criteria summary in the upper right-hand corner to verify that contact information or that search information. By coming over back into ML Exchange on the left-hand side, I just click on the name of the search, and the criteria for that search is displayed. Notice that we have residential, because we've got residential here at the top. We're in a residential search. As I look across, notice that we have area 089, so I've got that. When it comes to the community, it's Allendale. Inside Paragon, I've done a search for Allendale, and there's the community number. And when it comes to status, we have both active and pending. And so for status, we have active and pending. So again, we have exactly the same set of criteria in both locations. Verifying that this is correct, I'm going to come back over into the contact record. And on the bottom, I'm going to choose Client Connect. It's the superior tool for doing automatic email notifications. And by coming on down, if I wanted this to go out immediate, I wouldn't have to do anything, just send them a link. But by clicking on Notification Scheduling, I can now choose immediate, which means within the next 15 minutes after a match or a change, or I can choose recurring, and then I can choose my time frame. I'm going to just choose daily, and in this case, I want that to go out at noon. So I change the AM to PM, use the drop-down, go to noon, and by clicking on OK, I've now scheduled Aspie to receive email notifications at noon for this particular search. For me, down below, I'm going to choose recurring also. And for me, I want it to go at 8 o'clock in the morning. That way I have a copy of what happened the day before waiting for me when I get into the office. And by clicking on OK, I've now saved that. And by clicking on OK again, the notifications are all set up. By clicking on Send a Link, I now invite ASPE to Client Connect. And just by clicking on Send, off it goes. Now, once that's been saved over here in and activated inside Paragon, I want to come back over to ML Exchange, and by clicking on Save Search, up comes my options for automatic email notification. I simply choose the button No, and down to the bottom left-hand corner, click on Save, and I've now turned off that email notification. To confirm that, at the bottom, I click on the Save Search Manager, and notice now all the saved searches for ASPE have been turned off. They're no longer displayed. So that's a quick, easy way for me to make sure that all of my active searches inside ML Exchange have been recreated inside Paragon. So again, that's the way you would do it. And here's what we've covered so far. We've talked about doing the split screen. We've also talked about comparing the contact record information in both systems. We've then shown to verify the correct criteria inside Paragon, and if it happens to be wrong, just go ahead and add the missing information. We then activated the search notification. I used Client Connect inside Paragon, and once Paragon was taking over the duty of notifying ASPE about the different properties that match his criteria, I then went back into ML Exchange and turned off his email notification. Notice I just deactivated it. I did not delete it. That way I always have the ability to go back and check and verify the criteria that was in ML Exchange and make sure it's the same in Paragon. Now, to help you better learn how to use Paragon, we recommend you use the guides and videos. Remember, the guides give you step-by-step instructions with screenshots showing you how to use that part of Paragon. The videos are as a trainer demonstrating how to use that part of Paragon, giving you tips and tricks in order to make your work in that area more successful. I recommend you use the board help site because it's been designed to be the guides and videos to be based on your exact database, and that's the preferred place to go. You can use the Paragon help site, which is accessed by clicking on the help button in the upper right-hand corner of the page. Just realize that those guides and videos are generic rather than being Edmonton specific.